Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the first player ratings review analysis live stream of this Premier League season. And oh my God, what a game. What a performance. What a day. I am so happy. You have no idea. I never expected us to be this good. I genuinely thought today would be a struggle. And I was kind of nervous that we might, get a stupid 0-0 draw here, even lose the game, get with some stupid goal, just because I thought we would be so tired after Wednesday and having so many players, played, both games, Kante not on the bench, not having a single CM on the bench. I thought this might be a tough one, but we were way better than I ever expected. And Crystal Palace were also way worse than I ever expected. They are absolutely god-awful. Wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of Vieira as quickly as they did with Frank de Boer a few years ago. But, wow. Alonso, screamer. Pulisic, okay, wasn't a particularly special goal, but goal. And Trevoh Chalobah, take a bow. What an introduction to the Premier League for that kid. Oh my God. Wow. 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 We will discuss everything. We will discuss everyone. And to do so, I am joined by my very, very good friend, my very, very special guest, Mr. ConnCFC. First of all, Con, how are you feeling today after that performance? And second of all, thank you for coming on as always.
It's a pleasure to be on as always, Laurenz. Thanks for having me. I'm feeling great, man. It's a great start to the league. 3-0 convincing. Could have been more, but I'll take the 3-0. And like you said, after the Super League midweek, players like Rudiger and Kovacic playing off like the full 120, and then today looked as fresh as anything. It amazes me how people are this fit. I run up the stairs and I'm out of breath, man. So fair play to them. So yeah, excited to get into this one, bro. Yeah,
that's so honestly, there's only a couple of players where I have a few bad things to say, but everyone, and that, when a certain someone plays, that takes a lot for me to say. Everyone was pretty good. And for the most part, everyone was absolutely incredible. Like, we'll get into them individually, obviously, in a minute, but Christensen was amazing. Rudiger was incredible. Trevoh Chalobah, wow, just wow. What a player he is. You just mentioned him there, Mateo Kovacic, especially after playing 120 minutes against Villarreal on Wednesday in the Super Cup. What a performance as well. Mason Mount, having so little of preseason, in my opinion, was absolutely fantastic. And Alonso as well. I mean, you guys know, as well, Con. I'm not a big fan of Alonso in the slightest, but again, he was brilliant against Villarreal, in my opinion. I think he was brilliant again today. What a goal. What a performance in general. That volley as well, that greeted it well to save. Honestly, so many incredible performances. But ladies and gentlemen, we nearly have 100 people watching already, which is incredible. So if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated, as always, of course. Smash the like button as well. YouTube just works like this. I know I repeat myself, and if you're here for most of these streams, you have heard me say this before, but YouTube needs likes. It just doesn't work any other way. So please smash the like button. It helps me push these videos out to more people. That's how us content creators grow. It doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. And of course, if you want to support the channel, to use the super chat function is always massively appreciated. But let's start from the start. Let me actually add this here so we can discuss the lineup, just so I can show it on screen as well. Where is it? Where is it? What is my hand doing anyway? Regardless. Is it hot in England as well, Con?
Extremely.
Oh, it's unbearable today. It's like 34 degrees out. I went to the shops before the game. I was like, I'm nearly dying. It was ridiculous. But here, let me just type that one out quickly. But yeah, let's start with the lineup that we went with today. I'm not sure about surprise. Obviously, you weren't on the preview yesterday, mate, but I didn't quite expect us to go with so many of the same players, to be honest. This is the lineup that we went with. Edouard Mendy in goal, of course, as expected. Trevoh Chalobah at right centre-back. Maybe you could have thought of. Fair enough. Christensen, central centre-back. Rudiger, left-sided centre-back. That makes sense. Azpilicueta, right wing-back, was certainly an option. A bit harsh that Callum didn't even come on. Clearly, Tuchel wasn't happy with his performance against Villarreal. Alonso at left-back surprised me a little bit, just because he played the full 120 against Villarreal. Also, he did come off at the very end, but then he came off for Emerson, which I found a little bit confusing. But regardless, Jorginho and Kovacic, the only two midfielders we had in the squad today. Of course, Mason Mount could have dropped back. In terms of real midfielders, outside of Chalobah and Christensen, who can push up, of course, if necessary, Kante wasn't in the squad today, which I found a little bit weird again. Like, obviously, we knew about the small issue that he picked up in the Super Cup, according to Thomas Tuchel, but he was pictured in training yesterday. So I expected him, probably not to start, but to at least be on the bench. He wasn't even there. Good old Ruben Loftus-Cheek unfortunately picked up the Rona, so that's why he wasn't involved. Thankfully, again, I don't get it. Like, was the actually no contact with anyone? Like, why at the Euros, because of talking to Billy Gilmore for 10, 15 minutes, Mason Mount and Chilwell have to isolate, but all of our players were available today. It's weird. But anyway, that's why Ruben wasn't there, and Ethan Ampadu for some wasn't included in the squad either. Tuchel probably feeling with Christensen, Chalobah, Reece James off the bench, he has enough, if need be, midfield options. But that was the lineup. And Con, what did you make of the lineup? Were you surprised by anyone? Were you surprised, for example, Alonso starting, for example, Kai Havertz not starting? Obviously, he played 120, but that didn't seem to matter for Kovacic and Alonso and Rudiger.
I wasn't surprised about Kai. He looked a bit out on his feet.
Same.
In the Super Cup. Alonso was a bit surprised he started, and Kovacic, but then again, Kovacic probably had to play.
Yeah.
But then again, with Tuchel, bro, I'm done questioning lineups. Like, if I see something and it seems a bit off, I don't even question it anymore, because this guy, every time I do, he shuts me up. So I see a lineup, I'm like, yep, I'm ready for the game. And yeah, he did the job convincingly, shall I say, as well.
Honestly, what a performance. Like, things could not have been better. Like, the game against Villarreal wasn't great, but we won the cup. Today was like, not the opposite, because that might have meant we would have lost, but we were so good today, like from top to bottom. Crystal Palace had one real chance, where Jorginho was unlucky to lose it 50-50 in midfield, and then Alonso was out of position on the left. Zaha was playing behind. Rudiger did incredibly well to clean up, and then obviously Christensen also cleaning up again after the ball fell back to Zaha. So you could not have asked for more today, honestly. And like you said, a surprise. The team, Alonso, probably the biggest surprise to me, and followed second probably by Chalobah. To be honest, I can't lie. I thought Aspie would play right centre back and Reece would come into the side, or Callum would play again there. But I didn't really expect Chalobah to play again. But at this point, like, I know, the reports still are that there's a chance Chalobah still goes out on loan, and the way Tuchel talks about it, he said it's not decided yet type thing. But if you start the Super Cup and if you start the first Premier League game and you're one of the best players, if not the best player in each of them, can you really sell that guy, even if he's 22 and has never played for us until this season? Can you do that? I feel like you can't. I feel like you need to keep him. Does that mean no Koundé? I don't know. Can we just sell Zuma and buy Koundé and have Chalobah, Koundé, Thiago Silva, Aspie, Christensen, Rudiger? Who else? Is that all of them? I think so. And Reece James, obviously, as a makeshift option at centre back if necessary. But Chalobah, before we get into ratings, let's talk about Chalobah quickly. I mean, how good was he today, Con?
Well, yeah, that's why I weren't surprised why he started today, because how good he was in the Super Cup. And then today he replicates that performance with 0 mistakes. He made one against Villarreal. Today he made 0, and he actually scored as well. Surprise! It's such a hidden gem. Like, I knew of Chalobah, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of us knew of Chalobah. But I didn't think he'd be this good. And he's really pushing to be in his squad now. Like, you're talking man of the match in your first performance. But then again, who else got man of the match and got loaned out? Billy Gilmore. So you never know with Chelsea. But no, I was really impressed with him today. And I'm so happy he got the goal. And you can see it meant a lot to him. And it meant a lot to us as well, because like you said on your last stream, Laurenz, I was on with you. Players who love the club, and it means a lot. They're playing for Chelsea, right? When these guys do well, it just gives you that little bit extra,
It does. It does. And you could see it in the celebration.
Yeah.
Everyone was so happy with him. He was so happy. Like, everything seemed absolutely brilliant. And to be fair, like, you make a good point. I didn't necessarily know that he was quite that good as well. I'm not sure anybody knew. Some people will tell you they knew, but I'm not sure anybody realized he would be that good off the bat type thing. You're an expert, and you've been on a stream with him before, I'm pretty sure. He told me a while ago that Chalobah is really doing bits in Ligue 1, because he watches quite a bit of Ligue 1, and said he was doing bits for Lorient in various positions. And you can see it, like the way he made that run on the sidelines to go up to literally the touchline to cross it back. Unfortunately, the cutback got intercepted, but the confidence, the shot, and like I was doing the watch along on Chelsea Fan TV, and Chalobah got the ball over from Kovacic, and you could see that he was lining up the shot. You could see the stadium go and shoot. And I was like, don't shoot. And then he shot and smacked it out. I was like, oh my days, what is going on? Like, it's so rare that you see, especially a centre-back, especially when it's not David Luiz, go, step up to take that shot. Usually they sky it so far high and so far wide. And he just bottom corner inside of the post. Like, he couldn't, obviously, Goita got a tiny, tiny touch, but he couldn't have placed it any better. What a strike, honestly. Hey, Tuchel knew that Chalobah was good. I mean, I suppose he saw him in Ligue 1 until Christmas last year, I guess. But still, wow. Let me get this, because we're doing the ratings a bit not sure. Was you in the last player race? No, it was Pies. We're doing them a tad different to last year when we did them just at the bottom. Just going to get the whole lineup up on screen and, make it a bit more entertaining and engaging and interesting for everybody. And by the way, guys, if you drastically disagree with any of the player ratings that we are going to dish out, don't hesitate to use the super chat function to force us to change it. Obviously,
and it does work because I remember when Laurenz was doing the season roundup with the player ratings, and he gave Pulisic a rating a bit too low for me. So I had to use the super chat function, and I got Puli's rating up, and it made me feel better. So
I love you, Con. Brilliant. So let me get this up on screen. Who else is it? By the way, in the chat, let me know how happy you are, because I need to hear it. I need to see it. This is brilliant. And again, subscribe if you haven't already. Help us reach 15,000 subscribers as soon as we possibly can. And also, smash the like button. Like I said, it's important. We have 160 people watching, which is brilliant considering we're only 12 minutes in here. So smash the like button. Use the super chat function if you want to. But this, I haven't added the players yet. Let me quickly do that while I keep talking to you, Con. But the game started off like, okay, until we scored, we were in clear domination, but didn't really create anything drastic. But what I was so impressed by, our pressing today was so good. Sure, again, we'll have to wait and see for another few games. Was it just Palace being awful, or was it us being great, or a mix of the both? But our press was so good. We won every second ball until the 75th minute when we still got a bit tired and just took the foot off the gas a little bit. Until then, we won every second ball. Our press was so good. Sure, we didn't really create anything super special until we scored kind of thing, unless I'm forgetting something. But the press was so good. We didn't let them do anything. Like they got near our goal twice. Once obviously really good with the challenge, and one was a comfortable save for Mendy from a RU header. Like, how good was the whole team even to start with?
No, yeah, the pressing today was absolutely amazing, considering it's the first competitive game in the Premier League for Chelsea this season, and the pressing was that good. It's ridiculous, and there's one man who deserves so much plaudits today, and that's Jorginho. When he plays, Chelsea are so organised, and that includes the pressing, the keeping possession, just everything. When Jorginho plays, we look so good when we want to play. When Jorginho plays well, Chelsea play amazing, and it's just world class. At this point, he's a world class midfielder. We call N'Golo world class for what he does. Jorginho's world class for what he does as well. And he was simply superb today. I know I think Chalobah got man of the match today, didn't he? And I would give it to him too, just because he got the goal. It's his first start. It was amazing, but really it should be Jorginho, I feel, because he just looked another level to everyone, including old players today. He just looked another level to everyone on the pitch. Absolutely amazing. And when you got
honestly, I feel like it's his blonde hair as well. It's making him look even better in a weird way.
Yeah, it makes him look better when he's doing it. And when you've got a player of that quality in the middle of the park, you're pressing, the keeping possession, etc., etc. It all comes together really nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And Jorginho, but as well as Mount, not necessarily because he was as great or whatever, we'll get to that. But what I wanted to say with those two returned from holiday so recently. Like, they had less than a week in their legs by the time we played the Super Cup. Played an hour in the end there because they both came on around the 65th minute, and then obviously played 120. Both took a pen, scored a pen. And now started today. They both look so sharp. Like, I mean, like, no criticism to Reece James and Ben Chilwell in the slightest, but Reece James and Ben Chilwell didn't even start, right? Well, Jorginho had to, and also Matt, but they're just so straight on it. Like, there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? That just stops them, and they were both just absolutely brilliant. Honestly, someone said it here, Jorginho looks better than last year. I mean, his confidence could not be higher. He couldn't have had a better summer than he had, obviously. Winning the Champions League first, winning the Euros, winning the Super Cup, the shush penalty. You can't ask for really more. But like I said, I think it's the blonde there. I think it just needs to stay blonde now. Well, let's start at the back. We'll get to many things today, I'm sure. But let's start at the back with Edouard Mendy, who absolutely had F all to do today, let's be honest. So it's kind of difficult to rate him, really. He made one catch from RU's header. So, I mean, his distribution was pretty good, I suppose. He kept a clean sheet, but he didn't do nothing for that. So I would just give him a standard 6, because you can't really give him any bonus points for anything, but you can't obviously take any points away, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. He had nothing to do today. Palace didn't threaten us at all. He had one catch, world-class catch by a world-class keeper. What can I say? I'm just trying to hype it up a bit, but yeah, he really had nothing to do. So 6 seems a bit harsh, but it's like you can't really give anything more because
we can give him a 7 if you want.
I suppose, yeah.
7 it is. Why not? Why not, guys? I mean, guys, put it in the chat. Would you think we should give 7? 7, Mendy. I mean, someone said 10. Again, there's nothing to do. Yeah, he saved the header, and it was a really easy save. But before we get to Mr. Superb today, or two of the Mr. Superbs today, not that Rudiger wasn't, but let's start with Rudiger in terms of the back three. Obviously, the last-ditch tackle on Zaha was the only time they really threatened us. Brilliant tackle. His passing wasn't quite as amazing as Chalobah's and Christensen's, but it was still good. He led, did some good tackles, was obviously in the right position, aggressive tackling, aggressive defending. I think you're looking at nothing lower than an 8, potentially as high as a 9.
I'd probably give him like an 8.5 because I think
That's
the other
fair
two.
enough.
I think Christensen deserves a 9. I think he was just a bit better than really good today because there's a few times he came out defense and he got spun. But we won the ball back within 3 seconds after that happening. And he did make that great tackle as well on Zaha. That's I think the conversation for Rudiger being one of the best centre backs in the league needs to happen because under Tuchel he is 100%.
He is, yeah. And Flyers asked, where's Pice? Pice is at the game today, and he doesn't live that close to London. So he's travelling back at the moment, hence why he can't be on the stream today. But maybe we'll see him back tomorrow. I'm not yet 100% sure when we'll stream, what we'll stream, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think, we'll get to the ratings now. I agree on like I said, I would be okay with a 9, but 8.5 is, I think, more than decent as well. I'd be very willing to go for Chalobah and Christensen to go for 9.5 for Christensen and 10 for Chalobah, honestly. Like, what more can Chalobah do than he did today? He was defensively brilliant. He played wonderful passes, and he scored a screamer. Like, you cannot do more as a footballer, regardless of whether you're 22 and we don't expect it, or whether Rudiger did the same. If Rudiger did the same, I'd be giving him a 10 too. But I just think Christensen was the amount of interceptions and aggressive tackles and switch plays of Christensen today, especially first half. I think giving Christensen even as low as a 9 is almost harsh. So that's why I'm saying 9.5 for Big AC. And obviously, I think Chalobah deserves a 10. I can't lie.
No, I think you're spot on. AC definitely 9.5. I think the only reason I ain't going to give him a 10 just because Chalobah gets a 10 and he scored an amazing goal. But AC, bro, he's really coming into his element now. And I said it like before the Euros. He's going to come back and he's going to be one of the best defenders in the league. He's had that potential of being one of the best defenders in the league for a few years now, and he's finally got that manager that's getting the best out of him, and that's Thiago Silva's long-term replacement right there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, it's a tough one because if Christensen plays this well, except in maybe super big games when it's a bit about pressure as well, do you even play Thiago over him? Like, it's a question that we might not need to necessarily discuss in all detail today, but we will need to at some point because Christensen is developing beautifully, shall we say, beautifully, getting better and better and better. And I think sometimes it's a case, and to be honest, I'm not sure about you necessarily, but I'm certainly a culprit for this as well. Sometimes people forget that defenders develop a little bit later. Do you know what I mean? Attackers, you often have them at 18, 19, obviously 18, 19 maybe rarely, but 20, 21, 22, you often see players at an extremely high level. But with centre-backs, it's very rare. Like, name me more than 5 centre-backs that are sub-22 that are regular starters at a top team. There's barely any. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a little bit of a case for Christensen. You know, how old is he now? 25, probably? 24, 25? Like, he's getting there now. He's getting there, and he's getting better and better, and he will not stop getting better, if that makes sense. And yeah, TK13 said it here. He isn't getting bullied in the air anymore. Melinda said Rudy 8, Andy 8.5, Chalobah 10. I just think Andy deserves of it 9.5. I think, aside from not scoring, I think Andreas Christensen was immaculate today. And not that he should have scored, but everything, he did everything, his job. You could not have done it better today, in my opinion, than Andreas Christensen did it. As that central centre back. Honestly, I firmly believe that. But let's get to Azpilicueta. Obviously, maybe a slightly rogue shouted right wing back. I remember before the first Real Madrid game, or before the West Ham game, 3 days before the first Real Madrid game, probably none of us saw us be playing any right wing back games this season, to be honest, or last season even, because obviously we had Chalobah, this Hudson-Odoi Cho, and then Chalobah is confusing me. Anyway, Hudson-Odoi and Reece James, we thought they had the right wing back spot cleaned up type thing. Aspie played there every now and again, and did well every time. And today, sure, it wasn't like outstandingly crazy good going forward, but let's not ignore things. Before the Pulisic goal, Mason Mount played the lovely 1-2 with Aspie, and there was a couple of times when it was the other way around, and Aspie with decent crosses just about didn't find a teammate. So Aspie was brilliant, if you ask me. Aspie was brilliant. Maybe not like Christensen and Chalobah were brilliant, but I think 7.5 to 8 brilliant is what I'd say.
Yeah, I think it was a solid 8 out of 10 performance from Aspie. It's one of those 8 out of 10.
I mean, put it in the chat if anyone disagrees on Aspie, because, TK said as well, solid 7.5 to 8. I cannot disagree. We'll discuss like a few other goals in detail, but actually, let's get through those. I know we didn't quite discuss them yet, but I want to discuss the goals. 1-0, Marcos Alonso. We'll get to his rating in a second now. What a hit, by the way. What is Goita doing? Didn't even see it going in. Anyway, who won the foul? Mason Mount with a lovely piece of dribbling, got fouled at the edge of the box, and Alonso just steps up, smacks it home. 5 minutes after Mason Mount took one from the other side of the box, a little bit further wide, if that makes sense, but took it straight for the keeper, and Goita was comfortable to fist it away. But what a goal! What a goal! Like, it was just, you love a free kick goal like that. You love when it just curls over the bar, over the wall into the goal. Like, it just looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, nothing quite beats a free kick, does it? And Marcos Alonso still got it after like a few free kick attempts he's had like last season. I thought, does this guy still have the free kicks? And yeah, he still has the free kicks, man. It's nothing quite like a Marcos Alonso free kick, is there? Love it.
No, it's exactly what I'm thinking, honestly. What a goal. Then obviously the second goal, Christian Pulisic, I just touched on it in the build-up. Andreas Christensen ball, I'm pretty sure. Out wide to Mason Mount. Aspie actually moving slightly inside with Mount covering the byline. Mount playing it to Aspie round the corner with the 1-2 to Mason Mount, crosses it in. Was aiming for Timo Werner clearly, but the goalkeeper just about gets out of his goal to block it from getting to Timo. But then it falls to Pulisic, who did really well, in my opinion, to sort his feet out, get a shot away and put it over the goalkeeper who was on the ground, put it over the defender who was on the line, and from the underside of the bar, put it home. A little bit easier maybe than the one he had in the Super Cup, just because the angle was super tight there. But again, I think, as much as I don't think Pulisic was overall very, very good, we'll talk about that in a minute. But that goal, I think he did really, really well to put it in.
No, he did. And it was nice to see one of our forwards getting in that position, I think Goita actually did well. I think they was a bit harsh, the commentary on him, to be honest, because if he doesn't touch that, Werner has a tap in, Well, it's Werner, so we don't know if it's going to go in, but Werner has like a free shot from like 3 yards out. So he did well, and Pulisic was just there. He just anticipated it, and it was actually a good finish as well. He sorted out his feet quick, and it was a really good finish. And yeah, do you know what? I don't really care if Pulisic can have like 10 dribbles a game. If he scores more often, that makes up for those 10 dribbles he'd have, And I want to see that more, because he's a great finisher, Pulisic. One of our best finishers, actually.
Oh, 100% agree in terms of finishing. And he's also the only one of our forwards that, maybe with Lukaku now we have somebody else, but he's the only forwards that does usually end up getting to these type of loose balls in the box. He's the only one that does it. There was the game, which game? I wasn't against West Brom when we lost 5-2 or 5-3, whatever it was. When we went 1-0 up, though, Alonso free kick, it hits the bar, and then Pulisic gets the rebound.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, he's the only guy that gets those. We're not actually giving Pulisic a rating now, guys. We're just talking through the goals. Sorry. We'll get to Alonso in a second, and then we'll go through the rest of the team. But yeah, I was, like I said, we'll get to his rating in a minute, but the goal was very, very brilliant. Then second half, we could have scored a couple more if the last cross was just a little bit better, especially if Werner didn't just cross the ball for no reason, but just shot instead. There was no one with him. Anyway, Chalobah, I can't remember the minute, but beautiful play out of the press by Palace between Jorginho and then Kovacic, by the way. Kovacic then with a low switch ball to Chalobah on the right side. And like I explained it earlier already, he was clearly lining up the shot. And I was like, don't shoot, come on. And he just smacks it home, bottom corner, inside of the post. Wow. Wow, what a hit. And the celebration was so beautiful as well. Everyone coming there, hugging him. Everyone seemed so happy. Like, you couldn't have asked for more, could you?
No, you couldn't. It was just a beautiful moment, wasn't it? It reminds me of Tomori's goal a little bit,
Yeah.
Not quite as good, but the same sort of thing. The young centre-back getting a goal, everyone coming over to congratulate him. It's just a beautiful moment, and he deserves it because he's been outstanding in the last 2 games for Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But let's get to Marcos Alonso. I would give him... Let me go with you first this time. Let me go with you first. What rating would you give Alonso today, mate?
I would match him with Chalobah, to be honest. I think he was so good. I know you're not a massive fan of Marcos Alonso, bro, but that's a 10 out of 10 performance if I've ever seen one from him. I think that's one of his best ever performances for us. He was absolutely outstanding today.
I would say 9.5, but I'd be happy to agree with you if that makes sense. I just think that the Zaha chance we really got to clean up. He was way out of position. But chat, put it in the chat. What rating would you give him? 9.5 or 10? And I'll give you just a second to hear what you guys are talking about. I see a 9.5 here. I saw a 10, I think, earlier. Another 9.5, actually. So let's see what the chat has to say. So here, give him a 10, man of the match, 10, 8.5, a bit harsh. 10, there's a lot of 10s. So, Con, you win, 10 it is. Big up Marcos Alonso. Like I said, I'm not his biggest fan. Everyone knows this. But I like to think that I give credit when credit is due. And today, credit is more than due. And he deserves at least a 9.5, if not the 10. So I'm very, very happy to give it out to him. Let's get to Jorginho next. You touched on him earlier already. I love Jorginho more than most people. I didn't think he was quite that ridiculously crazy good as you did, but I would probably give him a 9. He was unfortunate to miss that 50-50. I won't blame him for that. That obviously was in the build-up to the Zaha chance. But just not quite as many risky passes as he did against Villarreal, which I was slightly hoping for. But in terms of ball retention, always keeping it, always, controlling everything and, commanding everyone around him. I think it was inch perfect. So I would give him a 9, but if you want to go higher than that, let me know.
Yeah, I'd give him a 10. I think he's a player that definitely gets slept on a little bit from what he does. The amount of times he was turning when he was pressed and keeping the ball moving, going forward, it is one of the best games I've seen from Jorginho in recent memory as well. He intercepted a bunch. He was spraying diagonals that were always going through. He wasn't misplacing the pass. He was fantastic today. I can't not give him a 10. He was so good. Like I said, I thought he looked another level to everybody else on the pitch, including our players. I think he was absolutely faultless today. I
mean, to be fair, if we give Alonso a 10, I think Jorginho deserves one as well. Not because I think Alonso is absolutely outrageous, but I would have probably given both of them either would have given both of them a 9.5, maybe Jorginho a 9. But a lot of people in the chat saying 9.5. You're saying 10. I'm saying 9. Maybe it should be 9.5. I don't know. But if I give Alonso a 10, just because I love Jorginho, I'll also give him a 10. 0.5 extra for the hair. But yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. I hope you'll be okay with that in the chat if we give him a 10. People seem to be pretty happy. Emil, big up yourself. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're well. Saying give Georgie the Ballon d'Or. Yes, give Georgie the Ballon d'Or. Let me get the picture up. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Lewis usually has these things saved somewhere. Is that him or is that Mason? I don't know. It's Mason. It's the wrong one. I can't see on the small window. Who's that? Is that Christensen? That's Billy Gilmore. Who's that?
How many has he got made? It's got the whole Chelsea squad on there.
There's another Mason one. Where's the Jorginho ones? Lewis letting me down here. That's funny. I didn't expect the Billy one, especially. That's surprising. Yeah. Did you see? Did you also find that as hilarious as I did? By the way, that Jurgen Klopp is manager of Andy Robertson and says Billy Gilmore is the most talented Scottish footballer in the last 50 years.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's disrespectful to Robertson. Man. He's their captain as well, isn't he? He's the Scotland's captain, I swear.
Scottish captain, yeah.
The disrespect to Robbie. Jeez.
Hey, but I'm a fan. I agree. So, banner. Mateo Kovacic, to be honest, I don't think he was much far off of Jorginho at all. I think he kept the ball so well today. Also, extra credit just because he played 120 in midfield, which is the, most high demand effort type position, maybe alongside wing back, to play again and be such high energy, high, work rate again is unbelievable. Playing the full 90 again, absolutely fantastic. At least a 9, I'd be okay with a 9.5. What about you, mate?
I think he was really good today. Like, I don't think he was quite as good as Georgie, but in the context of he played 120 minutes midweek and he played more or less the full night. He did play the full night today, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. So from that context, I think it's got to be a 9.5 because he was fresh from the start all the way to the finish, and unreal. Yeah. Like, this guy's like tank is unreal, man. Him and Rudiger, unreal, running from.
And he got the assist for Chalobah. Not that it was the biggest special assist of all time, but still, assist is an assist.
It's a Bruno type of assist, isn't it? It's one of those.
To be fair, I'm not sure today we can slag off Bruno because one of those goals was outrageous.
Yeah,
that was outrageous. Pogba, didn't he get 4 assists? That's a madness as well. I saw someone in the chat over the Chelsea fan TV watch along saying that they had Bruno triple captain. I'm like, you've taken a dub today, mate. But anyway, let's move on to the slightly more defensive of the number 10s behind Werner. So let's go to Mason first. I thought Mason was very, very good. The cross, obviously, that led to Pulisic's goal. I know it wasn't officially Mason's assist because obviously it got intercepted by the goalie and then fell to Pulisic. But still, I think Mason did well. I would give Mason an 8.5.
Yeah, I'd be happy with an 8.5.
Put it in the chat, guys, what you would give Mason Mount. Maybe you think we're going a bit high here. I see a lot of 8.5. 9, 8, 8.5, kept the energy up all game. Yeah, to be fair, we're clearly all agreeing here today. What a lovely time to be alive. We're just getting through this a little bit too quickly. That's my only worry. But anyway, let's get to Christian Pulisic. I know you're a big fan of him. We spoke about the goal already. Outside of that, I can't lie, he wasn't that brilliant again. Kept the ball for too long in a few situations. He's dribbling. There was one beautiful turn by the sideline, but he used the turn to turn around and go backwards, so that was kind of unhelpful. Obviously, the goal was great, and it was also a very important goal to get a second goal. And he did well for that, so he definitely gets extra points for that. I would say his overall performance, I would give him a 6.4 and a full 1 point for the goal, so I would give him a 7. But I know you'd probably go a tad higher, Con.
I'd probably give him an 8, and I saw some 6.5s in the chat. That's just ludicrous. He wasn't that bad. He wasn't great, but he warmed into the game and he won some important free kicks. He was getting down the byline and getting some balls in. I don't think he was that.
You and Emil,
Mason.
I
don't think he was that much worse than Mason today, because I don't think Mason was entirely that great today, to be honest. I think the assist was good, but he lost it a fair few times, just like Puli did. I don't think the front three in general were great today. I think that was all right, but I don't think there was anything special. So I wouldn't give him like a 7 if Mount's got an 8.5. He wasn't that much worse than Mount today.
Okay. Well, I suppose to find a compromise, even if you think that we will still be too far off, you say 8, I say 7, I suppose 7.5 then.
5, yeah.
I mean, I see what you're saying with that. I just think Mason, like, Pulisic doesn't give us anything when he's not on the ball. Like, let's not kid ourselves in anything. I'm not saying he doesn't press the ball.
But not the ball.
No,
Look at that Alonso.
No. Okay, yeah, no. I meant in terms of defensive work rate type thing. He doesn't do as much as Mason. And in terms of on the ball, they were probably even to each other. But I just think Mount gives us more energy and more around just what he does with the ball, if that makes sense.
Because he runs around a lot.
Yeah, but it's unlike Werner, who only runs around a lot and people think it's great. Mount plays like a good footballer and runs around a lot.
I get what you're saying, bro, but I don't think his work rate was anything to be. I think the midfield and the back five today made the front three's job so easy because they were so good in terms of the press and the organisation. I
agree with that, but I would also say it's more difficult for the front three because obviously Palace, especially as the longer the game went on, parked the bus over and over and over again. So obviously the front three will have by far the least amount of space out of anyone.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Lance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm giving him a 7.5. It is not bad. I mean, maybe an 8 will be okay just for the goal. But like considering what I've seen in the chat, I don't think I'm too far off with this 7.5. And getting to Timo Werner though. I mean, I was having a debate with many people in the watch along on Chelsea Fan TV. It's I don't know. Like, especially in the first half, everyone was telling me how great he was. I'm like, okay. So he had one chance, which was decent. He put in the side netting, but Guaita had it covered anyway. And that was his only real chance in the first half, I think. Or did he have another one? And then just that, like the fact that he robbed Chalobah of an assist like that. Sure, if he scores, if he goes for goal and the keeper saves it, fair enough. If he goes for goal and because it's on high speed and he puts it slightly wide, slightly over, fair enough. But to all of a sudden play a cross when there's no one with you, also I'm like, you're meant to be the fastest player in the squad here. So if you just about made it on the end of that pass, how do you think there's someone next to you? Like, I don't understand how he thought that. And also, where's Turbo Timo gone? Like, did you see? He was only barely quicker than Joel bloody Ward.
Yeah.
I was very baffled. Timo is super fast, but he doesn't, even when he sprints, he doesn't always go full beast sprint mode. Like, sometimes I'm like, you could run faster. Why are you not doing it? I would give, and people might think I'm harsh, I would give Werner a 5.
I really want to root for Werner, right? Because I like him. But I'm finding it hard to disagree with that today because he was kind of poor. Do you remember that shot where he just, I don't know if he tried to square it across or he shot and it just went.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, I don't understand his decision making at times as well. Like, he makes good runs, fairs. But I don't know. It's just another teammate performance, and I'm finding it hard to think of anything he really did well today. Like, genuinely, like trying to think anything he did seriously well. That I feel like that was really good from him. It's fun. Yeah. So hard.
I agree. And then there was a couple of moments where we had, I mean, it was a difficult one. I think once he tried to cross it to Alonso, who was somehow in the middle and Werner was on the left, and that cross got intercepted. Otherwise, probably would have found Alonso. But it was still disappointing. It was still frustrating. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're not too far off if we give him a 5 here. People in the chat seem to be around that mark as well. Some people may be saying 6, some people saying lower. I think a 5 is also, I think a 5 is being generous too. I think if we gave him a 4.5, I don't think we'd be overly harsh.
No, I don't, because to give him higher than a 5, you got to think of something in the game that he did, and he didn't do anything, man. He just didn't. It's becoming a regular occurrence with this guy now, Laurenz. Like, we all like him, but come on.
You say that it's becoming like. Yeah, no, when was it ever not?
He's just got to give us something, man.
Yeah.
He just has.
He's the first 2 months last season were good, right? It was good. How many did he score? 8 goals in like 12 games in all competitions. Obviously, not all of them in the Prem, but still scored against Spurs, which was good. I know we lost that game in the end again on penalties. The 2 goals against Southampton were brilliant, even though we drew that game 3-3 and got the assist for the other goal as well for Havertz in that game. So in those games, he was good. But then after that 6-0 to Spain by Germany, like after that, it's just never been the same. And I'm not saying he never had any good games, but in terms of great games, you can't even get to 5 over more than a season now. And it just ain't it. I mean, I was given the benefit of the doubt, maybe with Lukaku, it will work better for him. I still don't want to see him over Mount, Havertz, to be honest, even Pulisic. Ziyech, yeah, of course, when he's back from injury. But hey, he will get game time. We know that. Tuchel likes him clearly, otherwise he wouldn't play him as much. So he will get game time, and I hope it works better with Lukaku. But otherwise, it's just not being it. But let's get to the substitutions. Mr. Reece James was the first substitution, whenever that was, at some point during the second half. Coming on for Azpilicueta, we'll get to the fact Emerson came on and not Chilwell. Still a bit confused by that. But Reece came on, had a couple of good moments. Actually, a lovely 1-2 moment with Mason, I think. And then there was a lovely piece of play between him and Kai Havertz and I think Mason. So obviously he came on quite late and we were kind of not really going for goals anymore. He was kind of just seeing the game out, not overdoing it in terms of energy levels and stuff. So I would give him a solid 7, maybe. Not because he did anything wrong, but.
No, I'd give him a 7 as well because he looked really fresh when he came on. And the fact he could name something he did over the guy who played more or less 90 minutes in Werner. But, it's it's getting a joke with her, and I don't want to touch up on him too much again, but I really want to back the players, right? But when someone clearly isn't good enough for your team, what do you do? Don't know.
Yeah, and this comment by Declan Thompson here, I agree completely. Werner is a good decoy runner, and that's it. and a good low crosser on the counter. He is decent at that too, but that's when we're getting to the limitations of it. I'm sure, yeah, he works hard and he runs a lot, but so does Mason Mount. But Mason Mount does other things. So, like, you know, it is one of those. Pulisic was then in the end replaced by Kai Havertz, and Kai again, even though he didn't do loads of things, I think he looked brilliant today.
Yeah.
I don't know, like he came on and he looked so smooth and in control, and like I don't know, it looked like he was also the reception he got when he came on. Obviously, first time playing in front of a full Stamford Bridge at least. Ever since winning us the bloody Champions League, no less. So the reception was good. And he looked up for it. Obviously, he had one low cross after a beautiful piece of play with Georgie, I think, that unfortunately got intercepted. But I think he looked great. But again, obviously, it wasn't on for that long. So I don't think we can go like 8 or something. But I think it was a bit better than Reece, even if he played less. So I'd say 7.5.
Yeah, I agree. And he did that nice through ball as well. Was it to Alonso or Werner? He did that lovely through ball.
Oh no, yeah, beautiful, and on his weaker right foot as well for Kai. So yeah, honestly, Kai absolutely brilliant. And then Emerson, I mean, he came on with like 2 minutes to go. I give him an NA. Like, can you really rate him? But what did you make of the fact that it was him that came on rather than Chile? Didn't you find that confusing?
Not really, no, because if you think about it, Chilwell didn't play a game like a minute for England, did he? So he might just be lacking a bit of game fitness, to be honest. That bit of match fitness. That's what I put it down to. Because I can't think of any other reason, unless Tuchel fancies having some winners in his squad. I don't
know. That was funny. Yeah, it's a fair point. I haven't really thought about it that way. I've mostly thought about it in a case of, Chile had kind of the summer off. I know it was on training camp, but didn't really do anything except train. But it's maybe not a bad shout, the fact that he didn't have any game time, so it's kind of a lack of match fitness. Maybe an interesting shout. But then again, like he brought him on for like 2 minutes. Would it have made a difference when it was Chilwell at Emerson for 2 minutes?
Maybe he wants to keep him fresh for Arsenal. Who knows?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was also Emerson is leaving and it's like a say bye. But he didn't give Tammy a chance to say bye, who after the game, it looked like walking around waving to everybody, looked like a bit of a goodbye. So if he gave it to Tammy, why wouldn't he give it to Tammy? So I don't know. I thought it was a bit weird because I like after we brought Reece on for Aspie, I thought, okay, let's also bring Chile on for Alonso. Like we're 3-0 up here, we've got to be fine. Give them some game time, get them fresher. It's my thinking.
Maybe
for example, maybe he does, but he wasn't a bench. Do you know what I mean? While Havertz, I didn't think we needed to bring on. He played 120 already. We know he's in decent form. He didn't necessarily need this today. You could have also brought on Callum in a more forward position, give him a bit of a run out, in my opinion. But hey, I'm not here to criticize Thomas Tuchel in the slightest. I just thought I didn't really get it, but I'm sure he has his reasons. But let's get to Thomas Tuchel, because obviously we do like to give a manager's rating as well. I can't really put it anywhere. Jorginho is kind of the manager on the pitch, so let's put it. Pretend Tuchel is the manager, the sub to Tuchel, the sub to Jorginho. But aside from being a bit confused by 2 of the subs, I don't think he could have done anything better today, really. He knew that Kovacic would be capable of playing again, even after a rough 120 against Villarreal, and he was great, and he didn't get injured or nothing, at least from the looks of things. He stuck to Chalobah, and he was arguably man of the match. So he played Aspie over Hudson-Odoi, and Aspie had a great game. So you can't. I think you have to give him a 10, Tuchel, today, Big Tommy T.
Yeah, spot on. Dominant performance. Like the questionable people in there was probably Chalobah. He scored. Alonso, he scored. Pulisic didn't have his great game against Villarreal. Was actually kind of poor. He still scored today. So like he made the right decisions from top to bottom. Christensen comes into the team, absolutely looked fantastic. Spot on. Best manager in the world.
100%. At least currently, 100% the best manager in the world. It's not even a debate to be had. I do want to, obviously, we're done with the player ratings now, but I do have a couple of things that I do want to discuss before we round it out here. Did you see any of the Man United game today?
I watched the first half.
Okay. Obviously, their first half in terms of goal output wasn't as good. But how did they play in the first half? Because I didn't get to watch anything. I just saw the goals.
No, they played decent, but bro, Leeds, they just never changed their philosophy. And it doesn't work against United. We saw that last season against United. It doesn't work. And they just bend over and let them do whatever they want. Because United is so good in transition, and just countering is so good. They got that pace. They got Pogba who can play the pass. Like, I don't know why Leeds always play the same against United. It just doesn't work. So I'm not taking too much from that. But they do need a DM. That if there was one criticism of them today is McTominay didn't look great to me anyway. I think they definitely need the DM, and I think that will show in some games this season. But their attack's scary because Sancho and Rashford didn't even start today. They had Dan James. Dan James started, and there was creating chances. He had a good shot as well in the first half as well. So
yeah, I mean, they will definitely be better with Rashford and Sancho, that's for sure. But I also think I don't think they'll quite get relegated, but I think we will have a bit of second season syndrome for Leeds. Plus, what you just said, Leeds just play as the worst tactics you can have to face Manchester United.
yeah,
like it doesn't get worse than that. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you don't have defenders like a Liverpool, like a Chelsea, like a Man City do, who also play aggressively, but we have them better defenders than Leeds do, and better midfielders than Leeds do. That we have a better consistent press. And like you said, they're almost like bent over for them. And let's not take anything away from some of the goals. Some of the goals were absolutely brilliant. Some of the assists from Pogba were absolutely brilliant. The pass from Lindelof to one of the goals was absolutely brilliant as well, to be fair to them. So they're a good team. But I know United weren't necessarily like that last year or the last 2 years, where they kind of got decent results against the big teams quite often. Not necessarily won a lot of them, but rarely got beaten by the big teams. Although that doesn't get you enough points overall either. But they struggled. They dropped a lot of points against the lesser sides. I was always expecting the way United are this season that it would be almost the other way around, where they just wouldn't have quite enough against the City, Liverpool, and Chelsea's. But then every now and again get like a proper like annihilation of someone like Leeds or I don't know, Brighton. Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel about United this year. But it's a tough one. I mean, they look good. They look good. That's for sure. And some of the goals were brilliant. But both Leeds and Palace. I'll ask you, because we did the Premier League prediction yesterday. I'm not going to get the whole thing up again, but if you had to pick three teams who you think will get relegated, who do you think are, the most likely?
Southampton, Brighton, Burnley.
Burnley, yeah. Liverpool, by the way, are 1-0 up against Norwich. I'm just checking. Is Billy started?
I think so.
He is centre over the midfield three, which is good. So what we went with yesterday, even though I was roped into the Watford one, I didn't actually believe that one. So we came up with, I think, Watford 20th, Newcastle 19th, and 18th we had, I don't even remember. But I was just simply because they have an Austrian manager, I was going to give Southampton the benefit of the doubt type thing. I think, and Brighton is a weird team because Brighton, if they performed to their XG, they could have even come top 6 last season. But they were so far their XG that they nearly got relegated, right? So it's just a question. You'd think eventually the XG will just, catch up with them and they will be better. But if they just, again, don't, then eventually they could be in big trouble.
No, yeah, I agree. I feel like Brentford's team, I like their team, I like how they can get a bit nitty gritty and defend. I like how they can counter. I like how they can play on the front foot. Like, really good manager as well. And they've got a hell of a striker in Tony as well. So I don't see them going down. Norwich, I could see him going down, but for Gilmore's sake, I didn't put him in there. And who else came up? Was it
Newcastle?
Watford. Yeah. I don't know about Watford.
Sorry. Yeah.
I don't know about Watford because they signed that new striker who scored today, didn't they?
I don't even know who scored today. Let me check. Dennis and Hernandez. I'm not sure which one of them is the striker, but Dennis seems to be the striker. Got a goal and assist, so fair enough. And the Austrian goalkeeper was in goal, even though they conceded 2 in the end anyway. Austrian goalkeeper from the Euros, Daniel Bachmann, big of him. But yeah, it's a tough one. And then I'll ask you, what's your top 6? Start backwards. Start with P6.
Can I go down first, just for my own?
Okay.
Okay, so City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool. Leicester, Tottenham.
I agree on Leicester, Tottenham in that order. I had United fourth, Liverpool third. My honest one was Chelsea second, City first, but Pice and Lewis roped me into it, and we had to say Chelsea first. So, and I was like, all right, I'm back in. We had to agree on something in the end. But hey, here we are, 3-0. Obviously, second in the league because Man United had won by 4 goals. We won by 3, even though we would have needed 2 more goals anyway. Because if we won 4-0, they would have scored 5. But anyway, 3-0 start. 3-0 win to kick the Premier League season off. A week off now. Lukaku not even played yet. Like, you couldn't have started better. Again, after seeing this today, I wouldn't be surprised if Palace go down as well because, sure, we were great, but they were also god bloody awful. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see what happens with Vieira there. I still feel like he might be the first manager to get sacked. But you couldn't have asked for a better start. You know, we seem to be okay. The only problem we have is the injuries in midfield again. Like, we need to sign a midfield. Obviously, Ruben catching the Rona, which is unfortunate. Hopefully he's back soon. But what is the situation with Kante? Like, we need to sign a midfield. And it's baffling to me that we are so strongly linked to Koundé, who is a great player, and I take him if we sign him. But we don't desperately need a centre-back, especially now with the emergence of Chalobah, right? Like this, right? But we so badly need a midfield. I know we've spoken about this before, and you said you don't really think that we need it so badly, but look at the squad today. We didn't even have a centre mid on the bench.
Yeah. No, I'm starting to come around with that. After seeing Chalobah as well, I really like Koundé, I really do. But if that money goes towards a solid midfielder, then we have to get one because we can't have Jorginho, Kante, and cover all season. We just can't. It's not going to work. We're going to have 2 of them injured at one point, and we're going to be like, oh, crap. You know, Mason Mount playing in the pivot. We don't want to see that. It's nice he can do it, but we don't want to see that from kickoff, you know what I mean? So, a Tchouaméni would be nice. You know, a guy who could play as a 6 and an 8. A bit versatile there. But, yeah. We definitely need a midfielder, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I see the Chronicles saying it here. We definitely need a midfielder. Dybala would have been good. I feel like people don't know who Dybala actually is. He's not a midfielder, number 1. He's a very attacking number 10, second striker or right mid type player.
Very similar to Kai Havertz, isn't it? The way he plays.
Yeah, I would say just the worst Messi, but yeah. Well, left-footed Argentinian, you know. So I disagreed with that completely. Also, was injured so much last season, which is not ideal either. But the only other shout I've heard is sign Koundé, make Chalobah their backup midfielder. But I haven't seen enough of Chalobah to judge whether that's a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of him in midfield. But the way he runs forward when he has the ball, it looks like he can do it.
I think if we sign Koundé, and because Tuchel obviously knows this team, and if he desperately wants a midfielder, I'm pretty sure the board will give him a midfielder. He just won the Champions League, and we've not really spent that much considering how much we sold. So if he wants a midfielder, I think he'll get one. But if we get Koundé, then I think it shows that Tuchel trusts him as, you know, a midfielder as well. But we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell.
You mean he trusts Koundé as a midfielder?
No, Chalobah.
Okay, yeah. There is a chance because people will mention maybe Ampadu or whatever. Ampadu is in the squad at the moment. He was actually registered for the Prem, but he wasn't even on the bench today for apparently no reason, unless he was maybe in close contact with Ruben, because that's also a bit weird. How can he test positive and no one else miss? Like, why? Like Billy Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell had to quarantine for 10 days after talking to Billy Gilmore for 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So how is no one missing because of Ruben? So maybe Ampadu was one of those. I don't know. It's difficult to judge. The last topic, I mean, Yusuf brought it up here just to ask you. I don't think I've talked about it on stream, have I? Kovacic getting the number 8. What'd you make of that?
I just think he's a player getting a number. When I saw the outcry of people saying it, I'm like, grow up, man. Because for one, we don't want Mount to follow in Lampard's footsteps in terms of to be the next Frank Lampard. We want him to be the first Mason Mount, you know. No one's ever going to be Lampard. So let's just get that straight. Regardless how good Mount will be, he won't be as good as Frank Lampard. Lampard was probably the best midfielder of my generation in England, you know. He was the best in England. I don't care about your Fiera's, your Gerrards. I don't. Because Lampard was the best. So you can't fill them shoes. And you got to give that number to someone. Before Lampard, it was Gus Poyet, you know. Like, people just need to stop with the numbers. It's stupid. And Mount likes the 19, you know. He wants the 10. If people seen the quote, he had the 19 because 1 + 9 he's 10. So that's the number he wants, is the 10. So stop crying about the 8. And Kovacic is not a bum either. Like, why don't people cry when Barkley had it, but Kovac has it and is a problem? Like, it's just agendas and people not like.
I think people were crying when Barkley had it.
Yeah, but it's like not as, maybe it's just because it's just recency bias, but like, and just the amount of people crying about it's ridiculous. Grow up, man. It's just a shirt number, you know. And Kovacic isn't a bum. He's a regular star, and 2 seasons ago was our player of the season, you know. So it's a bit of respect. Like,
not necessarily deserved, in my opinion, player of the season, but regardless,
was deserved because against Bayern Munich, you know, the best of the best. He like the only one who.
Yeah, but it was player of the season, not man of the match, mate.
No, and he was every time he was on the pitch, he was the best. Every time.
I disagree with that. I thought it was Aspie that season, but anyway, not saying Kovacic was awful. I probably would have given Kovac a second, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a irrelevant conversation. But about the number, like I said, I mean, I agree with you. It's a case of we don't know. But if Mount would have wanted the 8 and we gave it to Kovacic, then I think it's stupid. But obviously, if Mason wanted the 10, why did we give Pulisic the 10? that's then another question.
Bro, like, branding, like Pulisic 10 at Chelsea is massive for marketing.
Sell Werner, give Pulisic the 11. Problem solved.
Bro, no. Number 10 is an iconic shirt, and Pulisic
11 is an iconic shirt at Chelsea. Arguably more so than the 10.
In football, though. In football, it's just... And Pully 10, bro, it's so iconic. And, you know, the selling of the shirts in the US, bro, he's never losing that 10 wise at Chelsea. It just doesn't make sense, though.
Oh, he's not losing anymore now, obviously. But I still, like, you know... hey, you know, cover with the 8. Did I necessarily think he needed to change to the 8 from the 17? No, because I think 17 is actually a cool number. But he has the 8 now. It is what it is. I'm not saying Pulisic didn't deserve the 10, but he clearly didn't deserve it as much as Mason at the time, if we're allowed to pick anyway.
At the time, he had a better season than Mount that season, bro.
No, he had a better Project Restart.
No, because he got his hat-trick. Before,
yeah, and then he was injured for the rest of the season. He got a hat-trick and had a good Project Restart. Didn't play at all.
He was great against Ajax in the Champions League. He scored against Valencia in the Champions League.
All right, okay. That's all in the same time frame as the Burnley. That was a month, right? I'm not saying he was bad, right? I'm just saying he was injured for pretty much the entire season except restart at the 2 months at the start. Like, you can't say that's not true. He missed half of the season. And
if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have been playing Champions League football, you know? So.
Well, if it wasn't for Giroud, we wouldn't have been either. You didn't give him the 10.
Giroud. I don't know. Pully deserved the 10 that season, bro. He was amazing at times.
First season, deserved it more than Willian. Yes, I agree. But, you know, not more than Mount. Or I'm not even saying he deserved it less than Mount. I'm just saying he didn't deserve it more than Mount.
Bro, if Pully was from the academy, people wouldn't even compare him to Mount in that season. After, like, when he got the 10, nobody would even have mentioned Mount if Pully was
actually, you say that. We got top 4. Didn't Mason's free kick against Wolves actually get us top 4?
No, because we was 1-0 up.
Yeah, true. It was the 2-0 free kick, to be fair. It was. I don't even remember who scored the first goal in that game. I just remember the free kick. But yeah, I mean, I still disagree that he deserved it more.
I don't like the fingers there, Laurenz.
Sorry. But what was I going to say? I'm not. Do you actually think so? Because I feel like the fans maybe that we like communicate with more, maybe, but I feel like the more widespread fan base would actually like Pulisic less if he was from the academy.
Nah, I don't know about that because
there's too many people always hating on the likes of Mason and stuff and Tammy. Do you know what I mean? If that was a thing,
bro, the reason people hated on Mason so much is because he was pushed in our face as this next Frank Lampard, and because that's why I kind of disliked him because I thought he was alright, but people were saying how good he was. And bear in mind when Pully came, I had so many like arguments with people because there was like he's 60 mil worth of garbage and stuff like that, and I still have like the receipts of that as well. If I'm ever feeling petty one day, I'll bring them out to the
He
surface.
still has a lot to do to be worth 60 million though.
No, but I don't know. Like with Mount, he was so pushed in our face, and like Jorginho was booed at the stadium, and he wasn't defended as much.
Yeah, that's
as
outrageous.
Yeah, it's just Mount and Rice. That them sort of fans, like them Cobham sexuals. Oh mate, they're so bad. I hate Cobham sexuals, man. I really do. Sorry, sexuals, Cobham sexuals, man. 2 problems.
Hey, big up the sorry sexuals. All right, calm down.
They're all right. I like a lot of them, but it's just like we have Tuchel now. Like, come on, he's better than Sarri ever was. You can have an argument with Frank Lampard and Sarri, but not with Tuchel. Tuchel's different gravy, mate. Different gravy.
Oh yeah. But is the wrong word here. But I'm saying what PSG was for Tuchel is what we were for Sarri. So like it's like a step earlier. I know Sarri is obviously much older, but in terms of career progression. Anyway, we're going off on absolute tangents here. It's absolute madness. Bigger Pulisic, but actually play as well as Con thinks you are, please. That'd be handy. I'm not saying he's bad. I just find it so sad that, Tuchel came in and I actually thought Pulisic would benefit from that drastically, especially at the start because you knew him. And if anything, it seemed like it's cost him, which is very disappointing. Because I know he started today and got a goal very good, but in general, he won't get that many starts, I fear, this season. I find it harsh because Pulisic seems like that kind of guy that needs game time. Some players don't. But he needed to find his maximum form, which is obviously unfortunate. And yes, the Chronicle, Sarri was absolutely amazing. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it here. I do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in today. What a fantastic way to start the season. A lovely 3-0 win. Absolutely brilliant. Could not be any happier. I'm sure Con couldn't either. We dished out the ratings, 3 10s today for Chalobah, for Alonso, for Jorginho. What a performance. And we hadn't even had Lukaku. So let's see what we can do against Arsenal. Can't lie. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Arsenal usually are shit the game before they play us, and then they are absolute prime Barcelona against us. But hey, we're so good, we might even beat prime Barcelona. So no problem. With Romelu Lukaku especially, what a place to start it as well. Obviously, Drogba being his idol. Drogba always battered at Arsenal, especially at the Emirates. So what a place to start your goal scoring record for Chelsea, in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. Always massively appreciated. If you want to become a member, there's a join button underneath your desktop or a link down in the description if you're on your phone. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.